Guys, I'm super excited. So today I have live blue crab and I am making a Korean dish called Gajang Gaejang and it's soy sauce marinated blue crab. I got these from my local fish market and I'm going to stick them in the freezer for a couple of hours so that they can get tired and I can clean them. And let's get started on the broth. So unfortunately it wasn't recording. So at this point I have one sweet apple, one medium onion, 10 cloves of garlic, and then I have some ginger in here that I'm going to add in that I've just kind of chopped up a little bit. I'm just adding this into water right now. I have some green onions. You can use just the roots if you want, and you can save the tops for something else. We have a few dates for some sweetness. I have a cut up serrano pepper. You can use a jalapeno if you don't like very spicy. I have some dried kelp. And this is dried shrimp. You really should be using dried anchovies. So you'd use about 3 dried anchovies, but I didn't have any, so I substituted for dried shrimp. Just a little handful of them. And then I have some dried Thai peppers. This is again just if you like it spicy, you can add this. If not, don't worry about it. I had these on hand, so I went ahead and added them. So I just ripped the stems off and then tore them into some pieces. Now I'm going to add 2.5 cups of soy sauce. So I'm going to cover this and bring this to a boil, and then once it's boiling, we'll turn down the heat, add a little bit of brown rice syrup, and let it simmer for 1 hour. Alright, our broth is up to a boil, so I've turned it down to low. And I'm going to take off the lid here and add in my brown rice syrup. You could also just use sugar if you'd like, but the syrup gives it a nice shiny consistency. It's really smooth and it melts really nice. So I'm just going to add this in, and then you want to make sure that you stir it up really well so that it doesn't stick to the bottom and burn. And we're just going to cover this back up and let it simmer for 1 hour. Strain it and then allow it to cool completely. So if you want, you could definitely make this broth, a day or two in advance so it's in the refrigerator and ready for you whenever you have your crabs. Because your crabs, you want to clean them and get them into the marinade the same day. You don't want to let them sit in the refrigerator because they'll die. So now we're ready to start cleaning our crabs. So this right here is how you tell that this is a male crab. It has this skinny apron, and then the females have this wider apron. And so we want the females for their dish because they have eggs, well, potentially have eggs in the head, and they are super, super delicious. So we're just going to go ahead and give these all a nice scrub down with a brush, and then we want to just get all this dirt off. There's dirt all around these legs, all under the heads. The males, I just put them aside because I'm using them for something else. But the females, we need to do a little bit of extra work. So we're going to cut off the very tips of the legs here because there's just not a lot of meat. Actually, we're going to cut off these pointy parts on the heads, and that's just so they don't stab you, honestly. And then we're going to cut off the very tips of the legs because there's not much meat there, and it allows the marinade to really permeate into the legs better. So just cut those and discard it into our little, I have a garbage bowl over here. And this is not a necessary step if you don't want to. And then now you just grab the apron right here, pull it back, twist, and turn, and just pull it off. And then once you do that, you can get up under the head and just pop it right off. And you don't have to do this before you marinate it. I like to do it beforehand so that You can clean out the gills, which you don't eat, and then it's a lot easier to eat once it's ready to go. So I'm going to pull these out here. These were going to be egg sacs, but they didn't develop, so we're just going to go ahead and toss those. And then the gills are right here, so we'll just go ahead and pull all of these off and throw them away as well. You can eat them, but they just don't have a good texture and not much taste. And we're going to take our scissors and just cut the little top off right here on either side, and that'll just let the head sit back nicely. And this is just the end of the apron. Again, it'll just allow the head to go back on a little bit more nicely. And then we also want to snip off the little antenna and eyes and stuff around the front of his face. So this is the wrong way, but stick his little head back, or her little head back on. It's not going to like really stick on, but just kind of place it on as best as you can. And we're going to just let her dry over here on this rack. So we'll just continue this process for the rest of these, and you want to do it as quickly as possible because I'm sorry, but they're not actually dead right now. They are just asleep. So they're unconscious, but you want to make sure you get this done before they wake up, or else you have to stick them back in the freezer. So we'll go ahead and finish clipping off the ends of the legs. And clipping off the pointy sides. And one step that I didn't show in this video, I'm so sorry, but my camera died. After I got them all cleaned, I took some vodka and just ladled it over these crabs. It's just to help disinfect a little bit, make sure that there's nothing there that can start to grow in the couple days that we marinate, because we are going to marinate these in the fridge for 3 to 5 days. And because of this high sodium in the soy sauce, it's okay. It causes almost like a fermentation process, and it preserves it. But we do want to make sure that there isn't anything that could grow. So as you can see, I'm having a little trouble with this one because the apron broke off in the wrong spot. So if that happens, just grab your knife and very carefully stick it in between the head and the body, and you'll find there's a little gap. See, I got smart and set it down here. And once you feel that gap, just twist your knife and you'll hear a pop, and the head will just release, and then you can pull it off pretty easily. You just want to do it very gently so that you don't disturb any of the goodness inside the head. There we go. And you can see this one has some eggs. You see that orange right there in the middle? It has some eggs in there and some beautiful fatty tissue in the head. And this is some of the really good, delicious part of the head that we don't want to lose. So you want to be really careful. Like, you could buy pre-cleaned blue crabs normally from your fishmonger, but they're going to spray all of that out. It's just going to be the bottoms. The heads are going to be gone, and they're going to take a high pressure water hose and spray all the eggs, all the extra fat, goodness, tastiness out of the body of the crab. And that is honestly a very, very important part to the Korean aspect of this dish, is that they love that part of the crab. So we'll just continue, do the rest of these. This dish is served raw. So it's called Gajang Gaejang. Ganjang Gaejang. Sorry, I'm going to try to make sure I say that properly. And it's soy sauce marinated raw blue crab. And so it's a delicacy. It's like a special occasion kind of dish in Korea. And you serve it with rice. And normally what people do is they put rice in the head, and I'll show you this at the end, and then squeeze all the meat out of the body and mix it all up. If you don't like raw fish, or you can't have it for some reason, I am going to show you an alternative way to eat this. And it is absolutely delicious, and it cooks it, but you still get the amazing flavors that come with this marinade, because it really is a very tasty marinade. Alright, now that we have all of our crabs cleaned, we're going to place them into a big container and just stack them up as best as we can, leave as much space. I'm saving some of these, like I said, for another thing. And we'll just pour our marinade over. And you just want to try to rearrange, make sure it all gets completely submerged. And then I covered it with a bowl to just keep them pressed down. And these will go in the refrigerator completely covered for 3 to 5 days. I did it for 4. And you can take them out. What some people do is they'll take it out, they'll reboil the marinade for a few minutes, and then let it cool again, reorganize the crabs, and then pour it back over, and then put them back in the refrigerator. I did this twice, and it's just helps to make sure, again, that there's nothing growing in it, that there's no bacteria, nothing like that, and it also continues to really enhance the flavor, and it turns out delicious. Alright, welcome back. So it's been 4 days since we cleaned the crabs and put them in the marinade, so they are ready to eat. You need to let them go for 3 to 5 days. And so traditionally what you would do now is you would grab some sticky rice, which I have here on the side. Put it here. We're going to see if I can do this. Go. Cut crab in half and squeeze all that goodness into the head here. So you take your spoon, scrape all that deliciousness out of the corners, mix it all up, and then you would top this with some sesame oil, sesame seeds, furikake, which is seaweed and sesame seeds if you wanted, and green onions, and just eat it just like that. That's traditional. For those of you that cannot eat raw, for health reasons or personal, I'm going to show you something else. So I'm actually going to air fry. So I'm going to turn on my foodie. And I have a little bit of foil here in my foodie basket, just for cleanup. And I'm just going to let that crisp for a couple minutes. That way it'll cook the meat and we can give that a try. Okay, so it's cooked now. I'm going to add a little drizzle of, ooh, that was a lot, of sesame oil. Don't do that much, guys. A little sprinkle of sesame seeds and a little green onion. Let's give it a try. Mmm. Mm-hmm. That's delicious. Nice and toasty. The flavoring from that marinade is amazing. Highly recommend this, guys. Highly recommend it.